Hi, my name is Asar, and this is my partner Ramadan, and we are presenting on the 1997 film named Amistad, which is directed by Steven Spielberg. And this is a true historical event that took place on 1839.
Alright, the summary. The Spanish from the Amistad has illegally bought Africans and has taken them to the Queen of Spain. The Africans make an uprising on the boat and kill everyone except two sailors. The Africans use the two Spaniards, or the Spanish sailors, to direct the ship's sail towards Africa, their homeland. However, in the process they were caught by the English and are put in trial in Connecticut. The Africans won the first trial with the help of Rogers Baldwin, the lawyer, but the trial is immediately taken to the Supreme Court. During this time, the judges were in a 7-2 lead for pro-slavery. The odds weren't in their favor for Baldwin or the slaves, but they were eventually freed with the help of the President John Quincy Adams.
Now, as far as character analysis, I thought that the main character, the main slave, was Sin-K, and I thought that he had a very powerful and commanding character. His character changes a lot throughout the movie. Like in the beginning, he was kind of like to himself, but he evolved into a character where he wanted to be the leader, and stand up for the rest of his fellow African Americans.
Right.
And the scene that was really powerful was when he was saying, "Give us free, give us free," and that really pulled at the strings, and it was the turning point in his character.
Right.
And he was finally speaking up.
Yeah. Considering the situation the Africans were put in, they didn't know any English, and so when Sin-K, the leader of the slaves, spoke up, it was a powerful moment. All right. So, and another scene in particular that stuck out to me was towards the middle of the film when the slaves are brought in front of the court and is presented many people start claiming they own the Africans. In this scene, the costumes that stuck out to me were the Africans, the U.S. naval officers, and the Spaniards. This was an effective use of costume design because you can distinctly recognize that the naval officers are from an army troop because of their golden and blue colors, the Spaniards from the boat because of their beaten clothing, and the Africans who only wore rags. This scene adds a layer to compare and contrast the characters' overall situation.
As far as lighting, wow, they had a lot of good lighting scenes, but I want to point out in the beginning of the movie when Sin-K was breaking free of his chains, there was a dark shadow kind of lighting, pretty much.
Yeah,
when he was breaking free of his chains and he was really realizing he was in chains, and the lightning went across his face, and you could see the anguish on his face and the horrific. You could see the horrific expression on his face, wow, I was chained, they're trying to make me a slave. You could see that all over his face. So that was a pretty deep lighting scene.
Yeah. Alright, so for the first court trial, where we see lawyer Baldwin get up, he starts to investigate the foundation of how the Africans can possibly be owned by any of the people there, just by the principle that they don't speak English. And in this scene, the framing, as we see, we are the audience, and this is... Well, in this scene, we're focused on Baldwin because it feels like we are in the audience. We see the other heads of the other people as if we're in the jury looking at Baldwin. This scene is a combination of point of view and pan shot and a handheld shot because it shifts to the left and right, and it almost feels as if we're fidgeting and following Baldwin's movement as he's moving left to right.
As far as my opinion on this movie, I would say that this was a very remarkable and memorable film. I will always remember this film. This is the first time I watched it. And it allowed me to see the struggles. Me as an African American, it helped me to see the struggles that my African brothers and sisters experienced during the slavery period. And I not only made a connection with the slaves, I also made a connection with the abolitionists that helped the slaves and that helped them fight for their freedom. It made me feel good inside because I felt good that there were some whites who cared for the well-beings of the slaves. So I would give it a thumbs up.
Alright, as far as my personal experience with the film, it's been overall positive because it was an emotional roller coaster for myself being an African American. I feel like this movie helps portrays the historical event that occurred in the Amistad, or on the Amistad, and when it happened. And I feel like the acting, the costume design, the framing, and the production of the film overall really brought the film together, which made it more believable. So I'll have to give this a thumbs up as well. So
that is the conclusion of our film critique.
thank you.
Thank you.